comes to TMNT Mutant Mayhem, I'm going to be completely honest, I had a lot of fun watching it. Firstly, the animation was really dark and gritty, with the colours green and blue really standing out, especially at night. I really enjoyed the humour of this film for the most part, especially when it got to its crude elements. I thought that was really enjoyable. I thoroughly enjoyed the fight scenes. They were definitely eye-capturing from the very beginning all the way to the very end, being very different and really being enthralling throughout the film. When it comes to the soundtrack, I really enjoyed how they kept it very New York, hearing songs like Ante Up by M.O.P. all the way to Tribe Called Quest's Can I Kick It. I found the plot of the film very hooking, and I just was pleasantly happy to see that Shredder was not included in this film, as whilst I do enjoy the character, I feel like he's overused in the franchise, similar to how I believe Joker is overused in Batman films. Now, one of the main things that I enjoyed about this film is there's the emotional hook throughout this film, as we see characters like Splinter trying to tell the Turtles his dealings with human beings and how he did not enjoy them, and warning them to an extent that humans are demons. That's how he literally describes it. Whilst the Turtles actually see humans as quite interesting people and they enjoy human culture. And it's really sad to see that. All they really want is to have a normal life like a human would. But because they're mutants and they have been told that they are hated, they kind of have to swallow it down and they believe this will never happen. It's really sad to see that they have such small but easy accomplished dreams in our case. But for them it's more difficult. Throughout the film we get these underlying themes, whether it be from trauma, acceptance, and ongoing judgment. We see trauma from the character of Splinter, who describes to the Turtles that even before he was mutated, he was hated by humans, and only after being mutated, he took it upon himself to allow the Turtles to explore outside the sewers, and what came was a very traumatic experience for not only him but what he also describes to the Turtles, as their lives were in danger, and so he somewhat segregated himself away from that. He sheltered himself, and it's sad that he has done this to himself but involuntarily done this to the Turtles as well, believing it would make them safe, but really if anything he's making them feeling sheltered as well. But we see that this gets slightly resolved during the latter half of the film. When it comes to acceptance, we see that the Turtles, all they want is to be accepted, somewhat like how teenagers just want to fit into their society as they grow up, start changing. We see the Turtles start to stop crime, but only because they believe that if they are seen as heroes by society, then society will accept them and allow them to go into schools and do all sorts of things. And so they're not doing it for the right reasons, and it's only until they decide to abandon the whole acceptance idea and stop crime because it is morally right, that's when they are accepted by society. And lastly, we see ongoing judgment, which we see in the form of Splinter telling the Turtles about how the humans treated him and how he has an opinion, a very strong opinion on humans due to one experience. But we also see the antagonist judging humans, as he also had a bad experience. But we see that the experiences of these two did polar opposites to these characters. Splinter went off and started to shelter not only himself but the Turtles, whilst the antagonist, because of what he went through, he took anger upon that and wanted to judge the humans and attack on them. I just found that quite interesting, how we see the polar opposites of what this judgment did to the mutants. Now, I could be completely wrong about this, but I see the whole mutants and the ongoing judgment throughout this film as an allegory for migrants, as we see that the Turtles, they just want to be accepted by society, but because of the fact that what they look like, they are treated very harshly, and humans especially, they make very rash judgments about them. And we see that on the one side, a lot of them stick to their own community, not wanting to branch out in case they are more than just judged, whilst a very small minority of them decide that they're not going to take any more of this judgment and go on a vicious attack. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I can also see it as an allegory for gay people and black people, similar to how X-Men how they used the mutant card and said it was an allegory for both of those groups as well. Now, when it comes to the ending of this film, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but mainly because it actually concluded, as during the third act, I thought it was going the similar way of Spider-Verse, and I was very scared it would go down that same route, but luckily for me, I was completely wrong, and it actually had a good conclusion, and it was a really good third act. And that's not to say everything was great about this film. I have a few critiques about this film. The first being that I feel like the film's humour is okay, but it's a hit or miss situation with some of the jokes not even making me crack a smile. Not only that, I feel like they use modern slang a bit too much. I feel like this may date the film in the later years. Similar to how in the 90s Turtle film, they used what was considered modern slang back then, and now watching it with the modern eye, you somewhat see it being very dated. Hopefully they can change this with the sequels. But overall, I think the animation was amazing, the fight scenes were great, the humour had some really good moments, and the most important and very interesting part of this film is seeing how they add more emotional depth and relatability to the characters, something we haven't really seen with that. And so, is this good? I'd say it's quite good, almost great. Rating wise, it's a 7.5 out of 10. And now, would I rewatch this? Possibly. When it comes to recommendations, I would firstly start off with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I would say the first of the 3 live action films. The first one was amazing. I'd say the 2000s cartoon, definitely watch that. And TMNT, the animated film in 2005, definitely worth watching, do check them out. Now, because they both share the mutant card, I recommend X-Men, but specifically X-Men Evolutions, as it is a favourite childhood cartoon of mine. We got Wolverine being badass as ever, we have real cool action sequences, emotional moments too, and it has a character called Spike. Like, come on. Seth Rogen not only provided his voice for the film, but also produced and wrote the film as well. Seth Rogen, great writer, great actor, really has been in a lot of good films, but I'm here to talk about his producer credits. Not only did he produce the TV show Preacher, the TV show The Boys, but even the animated show The Boys Presents Diabolical. An amazing animated show, very gory, very shocking, very much like The Boys, the original show. Definitely check that out. And lastly, because they're both set in New York and the animation style is very similar, I recommend the Spider-Verse films. Both amazing animation and really hooking emotional story as well. Those are my recommendations. This has been my review for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, please like and subscribe, but most importantly, thank you and have a nice day.